Hey everyone, this is Nitro. So in this video, I'm going to go over how to beat the level 50 Ice Dragon. And I'm currently level 47, so it's going to be a fairly tough match. The Ice Dragon is one that it hard counters melee units because it has a chance of freezing them if the melee unit attacks. So you need to bring mages. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring two mages, Liana and Bozel. I'm going to bring Liana as a healer. I'm going to bring Almeda as a backup healer. And I'm going to bring Ledin as a tank. For my mages, they're going to focus on single target DPS. So they'll have Fireball and Dark Reaper. And then the faction buff from Dark Waltz. So that's Bozel's stats. Liana will have Freeze Strike, again, Dark Reaper. And her third skill, I'm going to actually make it Blizzard. The reason for Blizzard is because it applies a -1 movement debuff, which is very, very useful for clearing the map. So while Dark Hole applies 2 debuffs, it's randomized. And Blizzard guarantees a -1 mobility debuff. So that's actually more important for the Ice Dragon. So that's Bozel's skills and that's Lana's skills. Ledin doesn't change. He has his faction buff, he has Divine Guard, and he has the skill that gives him extra attack and defense and additional healing. In terms of troops, this part is kind of a tough choice. You can do Zealots because they have a high magic defense and defense. You can also do other units like Infantry because Heavy Infantry because they have higher hit points, 313 hit points versus 278. I also have access to Amazon Champions, but you can see their magic defense is quite low. So it's really a choice between Heavy Infantry and Zealots. I'm going to just keep it as Zealots because I believe the plus 21% stats would be more important when his hit points is above 80%. So I'm going to have Ledin with Zealots. I'm going to have Liana with her usual skills, which is again Prayer and Heal. And Almeda, she has Heal, she has Holy Word, which may be useful in clearing out the monsters, but she's not really going to be attacking, so her third skill doesn't really matter. It can be Shield, it can be Tornado. I will put in Tornado just because you really don't use the Shield skill anymore at this point. So ideally, if you had actually put Rune Stones into her, I think Ultimate Quip would be pretty useful because it has a chance to cast a debuff. And other than that, you know, Meditation could be useful. This is more for player versus player or fighting against cavalry, so it's not that useful. So yeah, this setup is fine. Her skills, you're mainly using Heal, and maybe in the early parts to keep battle, use Holy Word. So let's get started with all that said. Now, we're going to open the Secret Realm, we're going into Goddess Trial, and we're going to attack the level 50 Ice Dragon. So, in fact, one of the tougher parts of this battle is actually the early stages, because you have to be able to kill off these targets while keeping all your characters alive. If you're careful and play it properly, that will happen, but if you make a few mistakes, it's going to cost you. So, I'm going to set up like this, and begin the fight. And we're just going to move in. So, Ledin moves in with Holy Guard. He moves in and he applies his faction buff. Liana will... And then... Lana is going to move and use her Blizzard first turn. Big advantage of Lana is that she has 4 range on her spells. So putting her where I put her is very important, so she can get the attack right on turn 1. And the reason Blizzard is so important this very first turn is because of the movement debuff. They can move up, but they can't attack me. This basically triggers the fight, but they can't attack yet. And I'm going to move up Bozel and apply the faction buff. I could have applied it before I launched the attack, but it doesn't really matter because the AoE damage is really low. So it did negligible damage. So, and then let's move up my last two characters. First, I'm moving Almeda, and I'm going to move Liana last so that she can apply prayer. By moving her last, the prayer will last the next 2 turns. If I had left the character unmoved, they would move and then waste one of the prayer heals. So for those that don't know, prayer applies a buff which restores 20% troop hit points after they move. So that's why it also heals quite a lot of health. But the more important thing is that my units can now attack and then heal themselves. So now that that's been done, we will now begin the fight. And what I can do is... Now this is the slightly tough choices here, because... Okay, I'm going to begin by weakening one of these serpents, the Leviathans, with Ledin. He'll take some damage, but self-heal. Didn't do much damage because I did not have Divine Guard, so his attack is only 322. And their defense is 427, which explains why there was not much damage there. But that's okay. I'm going to weaken it some more with Death Scythe from 3 range. Next, let's hit them all with an AoE strike. Do some more damage. And then I need to focus down the behemoth. So let's move up 1 tile, which does not trigger the northern enemies, and use the Death Scythe to attack. And that was enough to kill off that behemoth. So with all that done, I can now use again on Lana so that I can kill off this target with Death Scythe and self-heal. There we go. So now from 3 enemies it's been reduced to 1. So that's where you have to be careful. You have to be able to kill both targets on the first turn. And the reason for that is Ledin, he can survive 2 attacks from the enemies, but he also has a chance to die if they crit hit. So as long as you can kill off 2 of them, it guarantees that Ledin will survive. So with them both down, let's just weaken it from 3 range and then finish it off at 2 range. There we go. And with them down, I can now trigger the next group of enemies. And I'm going to do that by stepping 1 tile forward and using Divine Guard. Now this part is actually kind of interesting. You see there's 2 enemies and I'm triggering them, but what actually ends up happening with these 2 is the serpent attacks first. So... Oh, I actually made a mistake there. What I should have done... It's too bad I can't undo a move. But what I should have done was put Liana here and then Ledin behind. Because what happens is, if you do that, the serpent moves right into this tile here and to attack Ledin. And by doing that, this lobster behemoth has no tile to attack from. So I made a mistake there in positioning. So Ledin's going to take 2 attacks this turn as a result of my mistake. And I just have to hope that he can survive both. So there's the first attack. And here's the second attack. Come on, Ledin. 72 hit points, so he barely survived, but he did. And that's all I needed. See, what I was worried about is that if they had done a crit hit, then Ledin would have died. So since he's alive, let's use Holy Word from Almeda to do damage and also heal up my Ledin. Didn't do much damage, but the healing brought him to full health. And Ledin will attack the Sea Serpents in melee. You can see with the Divine Guard buff, his attack is now 572. So he's actually going to be able to hurt serpents a bit. And let's move my other characters up to continue to hurt these two monsters. Lana is going to attack with a skill, damage them both. Bozel will finish off the Lobster Behemoth. And Liana will just heal up Ledin. So, all the enemies are dead, and I'm now continuing to advance on the dragon. Well, all the enemies but one, but this turn all the enemies are dead. So with the new turn, I still have Divine Guard, so Ledin can still do a lot of damage, which means heal him up and let him attack. Alright, so let's send Ledin in. Oh, another interesting thing about Almeda is, my Almeda is 4 stars, and at 4 stars, Quipmaster has a 4 range and applies a debuff to 2 enemies. So as long as you're within 4 range of enemy monsters, they get an additional debuff. So if I can, I want Almeda to be within 4 range of the dragon to apply the debuff. Moving on, let's attack with Ledin in the melee. That weakened the Leviathan quite a bit, which lets me easily finish it off at free range with the lance from Lana. And so I can bring up the rest of my characters. So let's move up and make sure I'm still out of range of the dragon. And heal up. And then faction buff. Alright. So it's now turn 6. I still have 9 turns to work down the dragon, so that's a lot of time. You don't need to rush this. So let's take it slow. First things first. Let's begin moving my characters up. And we will do so. So right now, Bozel can't attack. Liana is the same. So we'll just move characters up. Again, I want to move the other characters before I apply a faction buff. So next turn is when I begin my attack. So let's end her turn first, and then apply the faction buff. Alright. Here we go. And I want both of them to attack this turn. Now, this is the interesting part. Ice Age has a 1-turn cooldown. So he uses it every other turn from the turn that he first uses it. And the other part of this is it has 4 range, so it has the full range that you can see, and it has a 3-tile effect. So positioning is very important. I'm going to position Bozel here to attack. And then I'm going to position Lana over here to attack as well. So the reason I did this is because let's say the Ice Dragon targets Bozel. 1, 2, 3. So they're separated. They're not going to be both hit by that AoE strike. And that leaves me the ability to apply prayer so that everyone gets healing and the skill will last for 2 turns. So I'm not going to do it just yet. I want to use the other abilities of the other characters first, so that prayer lasts longer. Alright, and now I will prayer. So that will heal up Liana, Bozel, and they will now regen 20% at the end of their next turn. So he used, I think he used Breath of Ice, he didn't use Ice Age, so I'm staying out of range. Alright, so let's continue my attack. Let's use the Death Scythe to do some damage. You can see he self-heals. Now this is the slightly challenging part because I want to be able to heal up Liana. So what I will do is move my... Ledin needs to stay out of range, so he's going to move up like this. Almeda is going to heal Liana, like so. And Almeda goes into 4 tile range of the Ice Dragon, which applies the debuff. Now the reason I did this is if the Ice Dragon melee attacks Almeda, Ledin will tank the hit. So, and then I'm going to spread out Liana away from that group. And she will use the Dark Reaper so that she self-heals like this. So this just spreads out my characters so that they all heal up. And finally, that's it. I already used the Death Scythe attack from Bozel. So I could use again, but there's nothing for me to use again on right now because they've already. It's better to basically keep this skill active. So she's just going to end turn. Everyone's full health. There's no need to rush it. And there's he hit Ice Age after all, and it killed off Almeda. But that's okay. So Ice Age is now on cooldown. Which means I can attack as much as I want. And I'm going to do that. This turn, he only has single target attacks. Apply these debuffs. Let's use again on Bozel. And then apply the faction buff. So my secondary healer is down, but it should be fine. Alright. So now this turn, he did the single target attack, so this turn, Ice Age is active again, which means I need to get Liana out of here. I'm going to Death Scythe attacks with Bozel, so he can self-heal. So he's at full health and applies debuffs. And I'm going to get my other characters out of range. Liana, the reason I'm not attacking with Liana is she's going to take damage and she can't heal it because I'm worried about that AoE strike that he's going to use. So let's move out of range and heal up my characters. Apply faction buff again. There's Ice Age. Okay. So with Ice Age, I can now move in. So Ledin never actually moves inside. He's going to just Divine Guard. But Liana can. So that's what I'm going to do. Let's use the Death Scythe. Let's have Liana walk in and use her prayer ability to heal everyone. And then her talent will do a second heal on Bozel. There we go. And then Bozel will again Death Scythe some more. Keeping him healthy. There we go. So the dragon's nearly dead at this point. Again, a single target attack, and he killed himself. So that's it. As long as you play it safe, keep your mages healthy with their Death Scythe and your healers, you can just slowly but steadily work down the Ice Dragon. The main thing is you need to avoid his AoE attack from hitting multiple characters. As long as you avoid that and your characters stay healthy, you're going to win this fight. So that's the setup I use and the strategy. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments below. And with that, Nitro out.